Hello students, in today's video, we will be discussing about the concept brachial plexus. Now to ease the understanding of this topic, I have divided it into some subdivisions. That is first, the overview of brachial plexus. Secondly, how is brachial plexus formed? That is formation. Third, the various components of brachial plexus, which is given by a mnemonic RT-DBC. Fifth, now we supplement the topic with a diagram, your concept becomes clear, so we will give a diagram. And fifth, as a future doctor, what is the importance of brachial plexus? हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं आखिरकार ये? So, clinicals of the brachial plexus. Now, let us discuss about the overview of brachial plexus. What is this? Where it is found in the body? Why is it called brachial plexus? So all these questions have one answer. That brachial plexus is a network of nerves. What is plexus? A network of nerves found in the brachium part of our body. Right? That is why this is called as brachial plexus. Now brachium implies the part of the arm between the shoulder and the elbow.
See, this is the image of the body, and the brachium implies the part between the shoulder and the elbow. Here you will find the brachial plexus.
Next we come to the formation of brachial plexus, and this line written in red is the most important line of the brachial plexus. Now as it goes, it is formed by the anterior rami of lower forecervical and the first thoracic spinal nerves, with little contributions from C4 and T2 spinal nerves. Now, let me explain this line to you because during my preparation time of anatomy, I did not understand this line. So let us see what this line means. Now, consider this to be any one spinal segment, say C5 spinal segment. So this is spinal cord, the outer white matter and the inner gray matter, and a central canal in the gray matter. Now, from this spinal segment, let's say C5, a posterior root arises, anterior root arises. See, posterior root, anterior root. In the posterior root, you have a kind of ganglion which is called as dorsal root ganglion, and we all have heard about it. Now, these two roots will combine to form a nerve trunk. This is the nerve trunk. And from a nerve trunk arises a posterior primary rami and an anterior primary rami. So that is the statement of brachial plexus. See, anterior rami of the lower forecervical and the first thoracic spinal nerve. So if this is the C5 spinal segment, then this nerve will be C5 spinal nerve. So anterior rami of C5 spinal nerve leads to the formation of brachial plexus or contributes to the formation of brachial plexus along with C6, C7, C8 and T1. Now, at the end I have written that there is little contributions from C4 and T2 spinal nerve. Now, normally what happens, that contributions come from C5 to T1 spinal segment. But if C4 also participates, then we called it as prefixed. And if T2 spinal nerve contributes in the formation of brachial plexus, we say it to be postfixed. So I hope this line is now clear to you. Now coming to various components of brachial plexus. As I said, it is given by a mnemonic RTDCB. Now how to remember this? See, R stands for root, T stands for trunk. Just imagine a tree. At the lowermost part of the tree, you get the root of the tree. Then you get the trunk, and finally you get the branches. So how to remember DCB? See, this is given in descending order. DCB. Normally the descending order is BCD, so you remember it like DCB. Okay? Now, this part is just on the basis of learning, but let us discuss it once with you. R for root, T for trunk, D for divisions, C for cords, and B for branches. These are the 5 components of a brachial plexus. Root, trunk, division, cord, and branches. Rather, these 5 are the subdivisions or the components of any plexus which is found in the body, be it lumbar plexus or sacral plexus. You will see these 5 components. Now, this is just based on learning that roots are found in the neck, deep to the scalenus anterior muscle. Trunk is located in the neck again, but in the cleft between scalenus medius and scalenus anterior muscle. Divisions lie behind the clavicle, cords lie in the axilla, and branches are not specific. Branches you will see in the brachium part of your body. Okay. Now let us discuss the diagram of the brachial plexus. Now I have drawn a diagram, but we'll draw it with you so that you know how to draw and try to make the diagram of brachial plexus as colorful as possible, because that attracts your examiner and the copy checker. So see, this is the root, C5, C6, C7, C8, T1. This is the trunk. Okay, this is the upper trunk, middle trunk, lower trunk. Each trunk will give 2 divisions. Anterior division is determined by purple color and posterior division is determined by the green color. Finally, you get the cords. 3 cords are there, lateral cord, medial cord, and the posterior cord. And finally, you get the branches, which is demarcated as yellow color. So let me draw this diagram and we will then explain the further diagram now.
So draw the diagram of brachial plexus along with me. First, I'm drawing all the 5 roots, C5, C6, C7, T8 and T1. These are the roots. After the roots, you will have the trunk. Draw the diagram along with me so that you know how to draw it and you can easily do it in your exam day. So, we have three trunks: upper trunk, middle trunk, and the lower trunk. The upper trunk is formed by C5 and C6 roots. The C7 alone forms the middle trunk, and the C8 and T1 roots join to form the lower trunk. Now each trunk will have two divisions, anterior division and a posterior division. Now the anterior division of the upper trunk and the middle trunk continues to form the lateral cord. The anterior division of the lower trunk alone forms the medial cord, and the posterior divisions of all the three trunks, upper, middle and lower, forms the posterior cord. So purple is demarcated by the anterior division and green shows the posterior division. So these are the three cords: lateral cord, posterior cord and the medial cord. Now from the cords will arise the branches, which I will show in a yellow color. Now coming directly from the roots, C5, C6 and C7 is the nerve, long thoracic nerve. Dorsal scapular nerve arises directly from the C5 root. Now from the trunk arises two nerves, suprascapular nerve and nerve to subclavius. Now let us see the branches arising from the cords. From the lateral cord, we have three branches given by the mnemonic Laila, Loves, Majnu. L, lateral pectoral nerve, Loves, lateral root of median nerve, and Majnu, M, musculocutaneous nerve. Lateral pectoral nerve has root value C5 to C7. Lateral root of median nerve has value C5 to C7, and musculocutaneous nerve again has the root value C5 to C7. So Laila, Loves, Majnu. Coming from the medial cord, we have five branches, which is given by the mnemonic most medical men use morphine. So M for medial pectoral nerve, root value C8 to T1. Medical, M, medial cutaneous nerve of arm, again root value is C8 and T1. Men, again M, medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, root value C8 and T1. Use, U, ulnar nerve, here it is C7, T8 and T1. And finally, most medical men use morphine, M, medial root of median nerve, root value C8 and T1. Now lateral root of median nerve and medial root of median nerve combine to form the median nerve, root value C5 to T1. Now coming from the posterior cord, we have five divisions again, given by the mnemonic ulnar. U is upper subscapular, L is lower subscapular, N is nerve to latissimus dorsi, A is axillary nerve, and the direct continuation of the posterior cord is the radial nerve. Radial nerve has root value C5 to T8 and T1. Upper subscapular C5, C6, lower subscapular C5, C6. Nerve to latissimus dorsi C6 to T8. Sorry, C6 to C8, and axillary nerve C5 and C6. You have to learn the root value of all the branches.
I said that I will explain it to you that why we actually study brachial plexus. As a future doctor, what is the role? Now, any injury to the brachial plexus can form or can result into Erb's paralysis or Klumpke's paralysis. Now, I have divided this into 7 components. First is the cause. You can just read it or understand it. Erb's paralysis is caused by landing on the shoulder or fall from the back of a horse or the traction of the arm during the birth of a child. And Klumpke's paralysis can be caused by outstretched hand, arm pulled into the machinery, or during the delivery of the baby. Now, this is based on learning.
See, this is the characteristic position of injury to the upper brachial plexus causing Erb's paralysis. This is called as policeman's tip position, where your arm is adducted. There is medial rotation of the arm, extension of the elbow, and the pronation of the forearm, as you can clearly make out from this diagram. So after you have understood the brachial plexus, the nerves involved, the muscles paralyzed, and the muscles involved, and if you know the action of the muscles, then the clinicals will not be very difficult for you. You can learn it from here. 2 points that you have to focus on. Erb's paralysis will cause policeman's tape, waiter's tape, and Klumpke's paralysis will cause claw hand.